you go public, you make a response. There's a huge reaction to it.
Yeah.
How'd the Navy respond to it, and what ultimately led to you being acquitted?
Yeah, they didn't like it. They didn't like it. I got to give credit where credit's due. As much as I said, I think my admiral failed us on this one. He brought me in the room and he said, "Hey, listen, I will never infringe upon your right to free speech." He said, "Just do me a favor. Let me know when you're going to do it ahead of time, so I'm not hearing about it from the CNO." And so I thought it was a very interesting. It was almost like was it World War I or II, where they had like the Christmas time truce, where they all came out of their trenches and like celebrated Christmas together. Yeah. It's like, oh wow, like okay, I appreciate that about this dude. Like
go back to killing each other.
Yeah, we may be completely on opposite sides here, and I may really not like your leadership decisions here, but I appreciated that about him was he never tried to suppress my right to free speech. Which is really an impressive thing that he did there. So got to give credit where credit's due. The Navy didn't like it, and it was made pretty clear to me because I submitted more evidence. We kept getting more evidence because more people would come clean, and so we just kept submitting it. And I kept saying to everybody, "Hey, here's some more stuff. By the way, probably the best thing for everyone to do right now would be just drop the whole case. Like drop the charges. Let us get back to serving in the Navy. We all wanted to just go back to doing our jobs." Like it's pretty clear what you should do, pretty clear, but they just kept doubling down. No, we have to follow this process through, Brad. What? Yeah, they would defend the process. Well, if the process is showing itself to be unjust, and you're a leader who can back to policies constraining us, and you can stop that by just saying we're done, then you should do that. If you're just regurgitating the line, well, trust the process. Well, you're a part of the problem. You're absolving yourself of your mandated authority as a leader to actually do the right thing here. And you're stepping back from the need to make a decision by saying, well, we're just going to trust the process so I don't have to make a decision. But the process is screwing over good teammates. The process is throwing away honorable service members like trash. As a leader, shouldn't you be the one stepping in saying, let's do the right thing here. Let's stop this process. But they never did. And in fact, not only did they not stop, they kept coming after us. And then they kept turning a blind eye to all the admirals that had lied. Just being implicated in the investigation alone paralyzed our careers. We were not, the doctor is still waiting to put on captain. He's selected before this ever happened, but it put a freeze on his record, and so he was unable to promote. Even though all charges are dropped, the dude's still not wearing captain because the Navy's so screwed up on their processes. In contrast, I gave them black and white evidence that these admirals lied, knowingly produced false investigations. What did the Navy do? Promoted them.
Yeah.
Not only did you not freeze their career while they adjudicated the evidence, which was conclusive, you promoted them. And then you got on social media, CNO, and talked about how great this admiral is, and I promoted him to 3 stars, and what a shining example of leadership. I mean, it's just hypocrisy.
Why he's implicated in a lie and freezing someone else's promotion.
Yeah, it's this classic hypocrisy. Get real, get better. Down to the deck plates. We'll wag our fingers at you. Make you show us how you're getting real, getting better, but don't you dare confront us. And so we saw that. And instead of dropping the charges, they actually elevated the charges. Independently. This Navy Administrative Command, NAVPERS, decided we're going to elevate the charges against you and Doc to now basically equate you to manslaughter. This guy died because of you, which had never been said. No document had said that. And we know from insiders, they knew that. And they said that there's no way we want to draw a causative line between your leadership and his death because we all know why he died, even though we're not willing to say it out loud. Yeah. That was said to me.
But now this is retaliatory.
This is retaliatory. How dare you confront us on our moral failings, Brad? Mm-hmm. So now we're going to show you, we're going to raise the charges, and we're going to come after your retirement, and we're going to come after your reputation even more.
And your freedom.
And my freedom. Yeah, because I asked him, hey, I will retire today. I'll walk away from this whole thing. Like I gave them off-ramp after off-ramp after off-ramp opportunity. Drop the charges. We can call it quits. You can stop paying me. I will walk away from the United States Navy. I'm good. I just want out at this point. Like I just want out. No, deny you that freedom. We're going to take this to the bitter end. And they just kept trying and kept trying. So, okay, well, I'll keep asking Congress for help and the Senate for help. And eventually it was even the White House helped. They finally called down to the Navy. They're like, stop. But don't you get here. I talked to the White House Presidential Personnel Office, PPO, and they're like, Brad, we have read everything. You're clean. This is ludicrous. We've read it all. You're fine. Like we're gonna help. I said, thank you very much.
Any members of Congress you can name that, that helped you?
Tons.
I know there's plenty, so I don't.
And I've named so many, and I always forget.
Out.
There was so many that helped. I mean, all the prior SEALs, Derek Van Orden.
I'm really good friends with Devo.
Dude, he's great. He's great. That guy's a massive personality.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's hilarious. Love him. I mean, so many, dude. Eli Crane. Golly, dude. Corey Mills, my personal congressman. Dan Crenshaw helped.
Yeah.
Brian Mast from South Florida was a game changer. Nick LaLota from New York. I mean, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, dude, that guy's a beast. Senator Tuberville from Alabama and his staff. I mean, Senator Cotton, dude, we had, I mean, these senators were looking at it in the SASC and they're looking at it with their like lawyers and stuff. And we met with them all. And some of them were like, this is so dumb. We don't even want to expend our political capital to help because it's so obvious the Navy's going to lose this over time. Like, good luck, dude. You know, like you've got this. I'm like, no. I know I've got it. Like, I know,
still need help. Yeah.
I know we're going to win, but they're not stopping, man. Like, please.
Yeah.
And like I said, everyone that looked at it was like, this is ludicrous. And they just all wanted to help and they all did. And they just started writing letters and co-signing letters. Jen Kiggins from Virginia. I'll keep thinking of more as we talk.
Sorry if we left you out, but I had to ask because we beat up on them all the time. I do.
That's what's so sad.
So the ones that,
dude,
yeah,
my world shifted because it was so fun to poke fun at politicians before this, and we all like to. And I had this faith in the Navy as an institution, and it's completely reversed now, where I'm like, golly, these people actually stood up for what's right, and the Navy did not. Whoa, that's a worldview shift, a pretty massive worldview shift right there. I have all the respect in the world for what they did, for them risking their political capital to stand up for us, a nobody. They didn't have to. I wasn't their constituent, but they stood up for what's right. And that meant the world to us. They will always have my loyalty and my gratitude for them doing that, all of them. And if I missed your name, which I know I missed a few, I really do apologize. You know how much you mean to me and my family. Yeah.
What brought it all to an end?
So ultimately, they co-signed another document and raked the Navy across the coals. Like, hey, not only did we say stop before,
who's they?
All these congressmen.
Okay.
They basically wrote these letters and they all co-signed them and sent them to the United States Navy saying, hey, stop. The Navy didn't stop. It doubled down. They said, hey, now we really mean it. Stop. I think President Trump getting elected helped as well. There was a huge, obviously, momentum shift in our priorities as a DOD. Even before he took the seat into the late fall, into the winter, you could see where we were coming. And ultimately, the Navy dropped all charges. That didn't stop him, though. I submitted for my retirement, and then they tried to create this independent administrative board now to demote me in retirement, which is, again, another policy that the Navy can use to unjustly punish you, but all administrative, Brad. This isn't punitive, but we're going to demote you in retirement. Yeah. And I was like, golly, you guys can't read the writing on the wall, can you? Like, I really thought you were smarter than this, but they just kept coming after me. And so
it become personal at this point.
Of course. Yeah. Like, people don't like to be confronted, like we said, with moral failures, and neither does the United States Navy as an institution. And so that's what ended up getting the White House involved. Was finally Hung Cao got involved as the nominated undersecretary. He got presidential personnel officers involved, and they finally called over, and they're like, basically, what don't you get? Stop all, allow Brad to retire, approve his retirement, and off we go. And so that happened. And I retired, and as quickly as possible at that point, just to get out from underneath that guillotine that just kept hanging right over my head.
Without this, would you be retired right now? Would you continue?
Oh, no.
You'd still be serving?
Oh, dude, I was on track. I mean, as a Stockdale recipient, I'd been selected for MAGCOM, Major Command. You were on track for Admirals. All I wanted to do was continue on this path. I love the teams. I love the Navy. I still do. I wanted to keep serving. I wanted to keep leading. You know, if I struggle with any anger on this one, it's probably that they took that away from me.
And took it away from the Navy.
It took it away from the Navy.
Because you were, like you said, you were on track for Admiral. You would have been a great.
And the dudes that I loved rolling with, like I had the time of my life with these warfighters, and I had such fun serving with them, leading them, helping them, leading, coaching, and mentoring, suffering with them, and you took that away from me. You took it away from them, and that one's a hard one for me to still deal with, because there's resentment there for sure.
I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, so I won't say what it was, but you were offered potentially had the opportunity to get another high level position after in retirement, and that they attacked that as well.
They did. It's funny enough how like this whole struggle is what catapulted me into the awareness there. And I was offered a job. I was gonna be the Undersecretary's Chief of Staff. Of
the Navy.
Of the Navy, yeah. So, I mean, I guess kind of a big deal.
You'd have been the boss of the people who came after you.
Yeah.
Or at least had some authority over them.
Well, yeah. And he and I are very aligned on a lot of the problems we see with the Navy, Undersecretary Cow and I. And so we've been friends for years. And so I was very excited to help him fix these problems. I was very excited to help Secretary Phelan fix these problems, and Secretary Hegseth and President Trump, and all the things they're talking about where we need to be going back to lethality, back to war fighting as a focus. Like, yes, this is everything I want. Help me help you, please. I was excited to do that, and then my enemies got word of it, as you know, and rallied against me. And ironically, earlier we talked about the legacy dads, the ones that turned against me because their son didn't make it. That was one of my enemies, was a very big GOP donor that personally engaged with we think President Trump, and rallied against me and got the whole thing in the end canked. So really disappointing back to, like, that was one of the harder parts about being a CO, and to have that come back and manifest later unjustly again is disappointing. But like I put out on social media recently,
That's a great post, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, you can't hurt me. My God is sovereign, and if we learned anything through this whole thing, it was rest in His sovereignty and His plan for us. And I do believe that I was pushing our family too hard to serve once again, to roll right into my duty, and we were fraying at the edges after a 3-year battle with the Navy. That's a hard fight. It takes a lot. It takes a heavy toll. And we needed rest, and I think this was really God intervening, sabotaging their malicious intent against me, and saying, like, I'm going to use that for Brad's good. Hey, Brad, go on pause for a while, take a knee.
I was say, if any family deserves to take a knee, I appreciate it. It's yours.
And dude, we've had the summer of our life. It has been incredible time with my kids, with my wife. The kids were just saying, like, Dad, we've never had this kind of focused time, and even my oldest son, 21 now. Super good dude. I'm super proud of him, but he's probably carried the heaviest weight of us all, as a family, in the sense of my kids, right? Because he was the firstborn. I'm in my 20s raising him. Probably made the most mistakes with him. You learn from that and you do better on the others, but he suffered through some of that, and the hardest deployments he suffered through. I remember, and he's like 3.5 years old, and I'm going on a deployment, and I think I'm helping him, but I pull him aside, kneel down, like, all right, little dude, you're the man of the house while Dad's gone. You protect your mom. You take care of your mom. He's 3.5 years old, And at the time,
mistakes.
Dude, at the time I'm thinking, like, oh, this is great. He's going to be a man, And I look back, I'm like, what an unfair weight for that dude to have on his shoulders from me. So anyway, at 21 now, we were talking the other day, and he's like, Dad, I didn't know how much I needed to heal from all of it. And we have this time together now to just be, to sit, to rest, to pray, to love, to eat together, just to heal. He's like, I didn't even know I needed it. So we're very thankful that God intervened here. We're very
his ways are higher than ours, and we always think we know the right decisions or the right next step.
Yes.
And He closes doors, and we're like, why'd you close that door? I was meant to. We look back, and it was so much better when we do it His way.
So much better.
Two things off of that. One, there's a tremendous amount of unseen things that we fight against every day, and there has to have been tremendous spiritual warfare against you, not because of your job in the Navy, because of who you are as an individual. You're just such a principled person and a principled man, and a world changer. Everywhere you go, you kind of left it better.
Thanks.
And I think the enemy, Satan, I'm going to speak of spiritual war, targets people like you.
Yes.
And so I believe you've been under a tremendous amount of spiritual warfare, and you've spoken about it.
Yeah.
Can you speak to maybe the audience a little bit about what spiritual warfare is to you, and
Absolutely,
and how you've overcome it?
Absolutely. Well, I haven't overcome it.
Have you overcome what you have? What you have so far?
I know. I appreciate you saying that. I did as one of the foundations I'm in now, the Beyond the Brotherhood. I did a psych profile of me to help me kind of figure out life next. And he said, you are a true altruist. He said, you just want to make the world better. Every day, that's like you wake up and you're like, how do I make the world better today? And he nailed it. And I was like, oh man, I really appreciate that. I never heard myself described that way, but that is absolutely what I'm trying to do. So I appreciate you saying that.
It's pretty clear. Yeah, I like it.
I appreciate that. It means the world to me. That's one of my driving principles, apparently, that I didn't even know I had. But so to answer your question, yeah, I had to start thinking about spiritual warfare the way I've thought about physical warfare. And that's difficult because we have the book of Ephesians, which tells us how to put on the armor of God. But so oftentimes we fail to practically apply that like we do with real warfare. And the thing that pivoted my thought process to actually realize that this isn't a physical fight. This is a spiritual fight. This is a moral fight. Early on in our fight, as I'm struggling to reconcile these concepts, I'm in the Word and I'm just diving in, taking refuge in God. Like, okay, Lord, help me find your promise in here. Help me ransack this Bible and find your promise and just take comfort here. And I came across this story from the Old Testament about the king of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah. What's interesting, though, is, and this is the way God works sometimes, I'm sure you felt this, the same week, like 3 or 4 other people, some of them who didn't even know us, but knew friends of ours or family of ours, reached out independently. Hey, I was doing my quiet time. I came across this story of Jehoshaphat. I think your brother Brad needs to read this, or your friend Brad needs to read this. Can you please tell him that I feel like he needs to read this? So it was like, okay, there's a lot of consistency and counsel there. Let me read this again. So anyway, the story is that this king, he's king of Judah, and these armies all massed. They join forces to come against Judah and destroy them. They're just going to wipe them off the face of the earth. And so the king, they hear the word, and they're out of view, but they know they're coming. The intel says they're coming. So the city's in panic. They're afraid. They're like, "There's no way we're going to survive this. We're outmatched." So the king's like, okay, gets everyone together, all the people, all the men, the women, the children, and he kneels before God and he submits to God Almighty, and he says, "We are out of our element here." I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Sure.
This isn't the King James version. I'm out of my element. They're going to destroy us. Lord, we submit to you. Please save us for your name's sake. For your glory, save us. And while he's still praying and submitting as a leader, submitting to God in front of the people, a prophet stands up and says, "The Lord God heard you. He's going to save you. Victory is assured. March out tomorrow." Okay, good to go. Sounds like so many other Bible stories. Here's where it gets different. The next day, Jehoshaphat lines up his army, dresses them for war. So the first thing I took from that was, okay, God may promise victory, but you still have to act. He still requires you to do things. It's not just, cool, God, let me sit back here and let you go to work. Yeah. No, he still wants to see you be faithful. So they dress the army for war. They get ready to march out of the gates. Then here's the real big thing. Jehoshaphat takes his lead worshipers, so his physically most vulnerable, and he puts them as the point element in front of his armed warriors. Then they start worshiping and they march out of the gates. And then what the Bible says is the minute they start worshiping and step foot is when God fulfills his promise of victory. He sends a spirit of confusion into the armies. They all fight each other, die, kill everybody. So by the time Jehoshaphat arrives with his worshipers and his army, everybody's already dead. So what we realized in that moment was, okay, worship does something, especially when it doesn't make sense, especially when it's based upon a promise that you have yet to see fulfilled. Okay, how do we apply that in our lives? Well, my wife grew up singing worship at a lot of churches. My daughter does now too. I said, man, you're my 2 most physically vulnerable in our family, just like Jehoshaphat's scenario. I need you to be my point element here. I need you to help lead us in worship, because no one wants to hear me sing, by the way. I got a terrible, I may have a good radio voice, is what I've been told now.
Voice,
yeah, everyone loves it, apparently. Batman voice. But I don't have a good singing voice. And so I said, I need you to lead us there. I need you to create playlists, and we need to be a house of worship. And because that is going to be one of the biggest weapons we can have in this fight of spiritual warfare. And I don't know what it's doing, but I know it's doing something. And they're like, we're all in, like playlist, battle songs. We have a playlist, battle songs now. And then we gutted our sound system. We bought Sonos. We put them all over the house. We put it on an alarm and on the playlist. So every morning we'd wake up and worship music would just be spilling out of our house. And we wanted it to fill that cup, so to speak, and overflow so that nothing but worship was coming out of our hearts, out of our souls, out of our house, out of our family. And especially when it didn't make sense. In the midst of our worst moments of despair, we would still worship and say, God, you're good. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense right now. Yeah. This hurts. This sucks. Enough. Please take this from us. Please take this cup from us. But you are good. Yeah. I trust you. I trust you more than my own desires. Mm-hmm. I submit to you more than my own desires. And we choose to believe that you're going to use this for good. We choose to have faith in you, and we're going to praise you and worship you in the midst of our suffering. And dude, more than anything else, you talk about powerful spiritual warfare that'll just lift you up from the darkest depths of despair. Your way is better than mine. We just preached it. We declared it, even though we didn't believe it sometimes. You're like, how is this better than what I wanted? How is this better than the path I wanted to be on?
Well, it's easy to worship when you're in victory
100%.
And abundance.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
But I think when you worship when it's hard is when it's the most honoring to him and the most glorifying. And I think we know from scripture that it is aroma. It is a pleasing aroma to him. Mm-hmm. And he gives us a refuge and a peace in that it surpasses all understanding. And I can say here honestly, like with zero regret at all, that I would not want to be anywhere else now. All these other things I thought I wanted once, I don't. I want to be exactly where I am because I am exactly where he wants me to be. And that's changed drastically after 30 years of thinking I wanted one thing. And that's transformational when he can do that. That's supernatural. That doesn't happen.
Right.
He broke the chains around me that I'd forged, and he freed us, truly freed us from my own ambition, from the military, from the Navy. Again, as much as I love them, but
sure.
That was the main way we fought the spiritual warfare. And that's probably another 5-hour podcast on other elements of spiritual warfare that we used, but diving into the word and worshiping, especially when it's the hardest, is the most powerful thing we stumbled upon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not only amazing and right in line with what I believe, but it's coming from you. It's I think, it's very impactful.
Thanks.
You mentioned another thing was that your son, your 21-year-old son, both my sons are Marines. One of them went to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
As well, and done a lot of stuff all over the world with me, and it's one of the hardest decisions for me. I wouldn't say even hardest decision, just hardest thing to swallow was when my son left for Afghanistan.
Yeah,
and just
talked about that. Yeah,
with everything you've been through, the good and the bad of your service, there's lots of parents out there probably wondering, would you, Brad, if your son wanted to become a Navy SEAL, would you endorse that?
Yeah. It's a great question. It's a great question. The short answer is yes. With caveats, with an asterisk and some fine lines, some fine writing there. He's getting his degree in cybersecurity right now. And I was actually, even in the midst of our struggle with the Navy, I was encouraging him to look at ROTC. And I was actually kind of pushing him that way because I do believe there's still honor in service. And if you feel called to this, we need moral people. We need good people. These systems aren't going to change for the better until we have moral people in there who are going to make those changes. And like we said, it starts small. It starts at the lower levels and it builds from there. People that are unwilling to bend on some of these things. So I would encourage them to say yes. However, do it with your eyes wide open. Know the risk. Like I've talked about in some of the other shows, understand your risk, understand the risk paradigm, assess that and make your decisions eyes wide open. And know that as of right now, the Navy hasn't changed. What they've done to me, what they did to us, I'm not an anomaly. Mm-hmm. I've lost track of the cases that I'm tracking now that people have reached out to me. Hey, same thing happened to me. Same thing happened to me. I've talked to other organizations that do similar things that we're trying to do to help these kind of people that have just been unjustly persecuted through the military system, found guilty until proven innocent, careers torpedoed, disproportionately and unjustly punished for something that was either never happened or should have been a survivable mistake,
right? A
fall forward opportunity. And they've ruined lives over this stuff. And I think because they've just gotten drunk on their own institutional ego, on the process, on the way we do business. And so until you see the Navy change, be wary, and at least go into it eyes wide open. I encourage service. I never dissuade someone from if they want to, but eyes wide open. I'm hopeful that the Navy can change. I'm hopeful because I know people like Hung Kao, the undersecretary now, and he's a man of principles that absolutely wants to fix a lot of these problems. That's one dude. Yeah. And I know I know what he's up against. He's up against a lot of institutional resistance. He's up against a lot of admirals that don't like to change. Which is
the reason that, Pete Hegseth made a perfect candidate for SecDef because he wasn't part of that. He wasn't part of the institution.
That's right. And we need more. And that's why I have hope too, right? I mean, all these, the president's cabinet right now are change agents. It's beautiful. Right. It's beautiful to see. And I've seen some of that change early on. We've had this big momentum of change, but we need more, and we need it actually a little faster, I think.
I think so too.
And what I've watched with the Navy is, because obviously I'm very dialed into the Navy is doing what the Navy does, institutionally resisting. Hey, we'll wait this out.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing to see here, sir. Yeah, we're good. We're good over here.
Well, they think in 4 years, right?
Yeah.
We can hold out for 4 years.
Oh yeah, you and I have seen it in the military. That's what they do. Yeah. And I have not seen any major policy shifts with the United States Navy that would indicate to me that they've learned any lessons from this yet. Yeah. So that's my call to change. Please, for the love of the institution, for the love of our nation, change.
Let's learn from these.
Let's learn from it. And leaders like Hung Kao and Secretary Phelan and Secretary Hegseth, if these admirals show you institutional resistance, fire them now, fast. They're going to be fine. That's what people don't realize too. I can't believe they fired that admiral, dude.
Yeah,
that admiral's going to be on 3 different boards, in the next year, making 3 times as much money they've ever made. When you fire an admiral, it's very rarely punitive. They never actually suffer for it.
Separate with them. They'll go make a lot of money. The Navy's going to be better for it.
It's a win-win for some of these guys and girls too. Just get rid of them, and it can be amicable. Thanks for your service. Very honorable. It's time for you to leave. It's that simple. Yeah. Your ideas of leadership are no longer compatible with where we all see that the Navy needs to go, and that's a fact. And that's not mean. It's uncomfortable, but it's a reality. Yeah. And so even the ones that mean well, sometimes, hey, you are not evolving at the speed that leadership needs to evolve. You're a dinosaur, and your ideas are antiquated. It's time for you to roll. Thank you. Yeah,
you're right.
Here's your word.
It could just be compatibility within you. I mean, Secretary Hegseth is definitely taken in a new direction, and that's 100%. Not going to be compatible with everyone.
Yeah.
So, move on.
Yeah. Thanks for your service.
Go get rich.
Yeah.
At Lockheed Martin or wherever you're going to go. Yeah. You've taken these lessons and you're moving them on. A lot of, we've seen this a lot over the last. I think we were talking about yesterday with a Medal of Honor recipient that I had on the show, Will Swenson.
Yeah.
Back in around into World War II, there were 3 veteran service organizations, and now there's 45,000 veteran service organizations. So veterans get out and they take their experiences and they do good things.
Yeah.
And you taking these experiences and you started the let's see, I want to get the name right, the Civilian Military Defense Fund.
That's right. Yeah.
CM. Everything's got acronyms.
Everything's got acronyms. Yeah.
CMFD.
Yeah. CMDF. Yeah.
CMDF.
Yeah.
And I think Eddie Gallagher did the same thing after his case, and the Pipe Hitters Foundation. I think this is super necessary.
It is,
because what in the last 25 years of war, we've seen lawyers get involved in operations and tactics, and even on the battlefield. And like you said, with mass and just the military judicial system, you don't have the same protections and rights as a civilian would.
That's right.
And the military has taken advantage of that in some cases.
Not only do you not have the protections and rights, the way I see it is even if a service member does something wrong, ethically, legally, whatever, but then the system violates their due process rights, all in the namesake of good order and discipline, well, you've become the greater enemy here. Because the system, you've pitted that person as a David versus Goliath in an unwinnable war, because they have unlimited resources, unlimited resolve, and we don't. And not only do we not as individual service members, but you're denied access to some through your simple. So, for instance, and I've told this story. The first JAG that was assigned to us, when I was levied with MASS the first time, basically his opening statement was, "Well, this sucks to be you. This is unwinnable. Really sorry you're going through this." And my wife's like, "Get the hell out." Like, we don't like quitters in this family, and you just quit with your opening statement. That is not something we talk, like absolutely not. You're fired. And what we've noticed are there's some great JAGs out there, 100%. Some of them are like my closest friends. But the JAG Corps has its own problems that have perpetuated a lot of these other problems we're talking about. And one of them primarily being that over time, the JAG Corps is rewarded for protecting the institution. So for instance,
conflict of interest there.
Yeah. What's that?
It's conflict of interest.
Huge conflict of interest, right? Because like, and well, here's what's ironic about it too. All the time they'll be like, well, you're required to have like an ethics chair or an ethics head at every TICOM, every major, 2-star command or whatever. And so a lot of times they'll be like, well, the JAG, you're going to be our ethics advisor too. And my lawyers will tell you like, that's a horrible idea because the law and the ethics are very different. And in a Venn diagram, there's overlap for sure, but the law can be very unethical.
Right.
We've seen it. We've seen how lawfare can be waged. And if you're blurring those lines too much and you have a conflict of interest because you are the lawyer that defends the institution and the admiral, and it's your job to protect them, well, you're going to bend the law for your number one priority, back to the hierarchy of loyalties and where your principles lie. And so we've seen them do that in real time. So service members are pitted against that now too. And you might be given a JAG as your defense counsel who, first trial case ever, who maybe did a lot of great things downrange. This is another problem, is they'll reward JAGs based off your downrange advice in an armed conflict. Okay, well, that's not litigation law. Very, very different. But then they'll be like, oh, well, he's a really good JAG over here, but he's now your litigation attorney.
So are you allowed to have a civilian?
You are allowed.
Okay.
But you got to pay for it out of your pocket. And not only do you have to pay for it out of your pocket, you're not allowed to raise funds for it. So now that puts people in an impossible scenario. Even as an 06, dude, we've spent over $200,000 in legal fees for our fight. We're still paying that down. Still have some debt, and we've had great lawyers who've done a lot of the work pro bono. Like, hey, I'm not going to charge you for this, because we believe in this, but I have to make a living. And I always said, hey, I never want to abuse, our friendship that we've developed because you're a good man who wants to do good things. Like you have to make a living here. But E6s who are faced against a system like this with 4 or 5 kids, they can't fight this.
So that's what like the CMDF is for.
Exactly.
They can't raise the money, but this organization can raise the money and bring in.
Exactly. And like we found, the really beautiful thing is you need a 501c3 status. Because like, so for instance, my mom and dad wanted to donate money, right? They didn't have a ton of surplus. Like they're getting close to retirement and they've done a lot already. But my dad's like, oh, hey, look, I have great retirement plans. I don't need my Roth IRA. I can take my Roth IRA and shift it over to a 501c3 and not get taxed on it, but it has to be a 501c3. Mm-hmm. And he's like, is there any way to do that so we can help fund your legal expenses through our Roth IRA? Because I really don't need it. And they want to do that. And we realized, well, no, unless we have a 501c3. And then my attorney, Jason Wareham's like, let's just do it.
Yeah,
let's start a foundation and stand up a 501c3.
501c3, yeah.
And this will be designed to help service members exactly like you, to make it easier for people to donate, get a tax break for doing it, and provide more avenues of income to fund lawyers, which you need really good lawyers to fight the system.
So is it to the point now to where other people who are struggling could or need help could go to the website and
absolutely. Absolutely.
And then also people that want to donate, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. Go right to the website, cmdf.org, I think.
We'll put it in the show notes below.
Yeah. And there's other ones too. I mean, the Cash Foundation helped us. The Pipe Hitters Foundation offered to help us as well. Stand with Warriors helped us. There's all these foundations out there that do this exact thing. They want to help warfighters fund their legal expenses and give you world-class lawyers to fight the system. But what I tell everyone who asks me for advice, because I've had a few call me like, hey, do I fight or not? Say, man, like we said, you have to measure the cost.
Sure.
And it's more than just legal costs.
Because you're still going to be in a service.
That's
you're
right.
still going to have to go to work.
That's right.
With the people you're in battle with.
Super awkward.
Against. Yeah.
Super awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's your transition now. That's part of your transition now, is helping others in this.
Yeah.
You have. I think you said earlier you're still waiting for God's guidance on what's the next steps for you. But.
That's right. That's right. We've had a couple job offers over the last week or two, which we really, really appreciate. And I'm telling everyone, hey, listen, this felt pretty obviously to me a God ordained summer to rest. So we've we've committed to a decision-free summer where we're just taking that burden off of our shoulders, and we're resting as a family. We're traveling, we're seeing our favorite places, we're visiting our favorite people. And I told everyone mid-August timeframe-ish is where I'll start making decisions on what's next for us. So we'll see what's been offered. We'll take a knee at that point, assess what other things are interesting to us out there, and we'll start figuring out what's next. But we're excited for the future either way.
We said you're visiting your favorite people and you're here, so I'm kind of like,
I meant that one. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm gonna have a good time having some dinner tonight. So
looking forward to it.
I want to ask some questions that are kind of away from you and more to the audience. One is particularly for me, and you're getting more popular, and more like outspoken on social media. Sure. So people are going to be reaching out to you a lot. I get asked a lot, like, what special operations branch should I join?
Yeah.
How should I prepare?
Yeah.
It's a lot of from high school kids.
Yeah.
And so for becoming a Navy SEAL, going to BUD/S, what would you tell a young man in high school that wants to go there, or maybe out of high school that wants to go this route?
Sure.
What would be the best thing they could do?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great question. I'm actually talking to one tomorrow about this very thing.
Okay.
He reached out. And having done 2 leadership tours there, it's super. I love BUD/S. I'll answer your question, but bear with me. I'm
Go ahead. I'm interested.
Yeah, having watched it, just studied it. It's so fascinating to me because when these candidates come to us, they're physically. We get them physically ready. We have a world-class preparatory program. Boot camp, whatever.
Which wasn't always the case.
Wasn't always the case. Yeah. No, I mean, back in the day, you just show up and it's like, make it or break it. Here we go. Yeah. Now we partnered with physical therapists, cognitive psychologists, coaches, doctors, everyone to design a curriculum that takes a candidate at a boot camp who we know is probably not in the best shape ever. Because let's be honest, the Navy boot camp's probably not producing the most lethal warfighters in the last couple decades.
But the Navy has made if you're a SEAL candidate, you go to a different boot camp now, right?
No, it was the same boot camp, but they used to do a program right after boot camp that was still there, that you would stay there. We since brought that program to San Diego, divorced it from Great Lakes. There's talk now of taking it back to Great Lakes. That decision might already have been made.
Okay.
But either way, it's that middle ground preparatory program, we call it, that is between boot camp and BUD/S proper, or SWCS school proper. Either way, wherever it ends up landing, and it kind of changes and ebbs and flows over the years as we learn more about physical performance. But basically, we take a candidate and say we're gonna crawl, walk, run you, run, swim, ZO courses. Everything's gonna be tight, and we're gonna get you to the level where you're physically ready for Hell Week or the tour. The tour is the SWCS equivalent of Hell Week. It's a little different, geared toward their mission set, but same idea. The Crucible event. And so I used to tell the candidates going into Hell Week, hey, I know a lot of you are scared. My CMC and I would sit down with them. You're scared. There's a lot of uncertainty. I can see the uncertainty in your eyes. Like, do I have what it takes? Am I going to make it? And I said, let me take the mystery out of this for you. You are physically ready. 100% guaranteed stamp of approval. You can do this. You are physically capable of doing it. We have ensured that you are ready. Now, you always have the unfortunate injuries, something like that. That's just the crazy Ivans can't account for that. Mm-hmm. But other than that, the only question that remains is, are you cognitively ready? Do you want this? Are you willing to pay the cost? That's really the only question that remains. And the only way we can determine that is by putting you through Hell Week. We have to see how bad you want this. Are you willing to endure suffering, cold, misery for 5 straight days or 4 straight days for the tour to be a part of this community? Now, that doesn't guarantee you're a part of the community necessarily, but here's what's interesting too, and this is where I'm going with this. It's something like 94% of those people that graduate Hell Week or the tour will graduate our respective programs.
What percent again?
Like 94%.
Okay.
Well over 90% will graduate our program. Why? Hell Week's like week 7 of a 64-week program. You haven't touched demo. You haven't touched weapons. You haven't touched diving. You haven't touched anything SEAL specific. Shooting, moving, communicating, jumping, nothing. All the stuff that we think of when we think of like a Navy SEAL or a SWCC operator, you haven't touched. You've done boats, logs, cold Pacific Ocean, some concrete, some teamwork. That's about it. And fatigue, lack of sleep. So here's what I think is what's going on there. It's not that Buds, by the way, it's not that Buds gets easier after Hell Week. Like, no, dude, it gets harder.
You get the right people there.
So it's the right people, but what makes the right people? And this is what I've learned. If you study Dave Grossman on combat and on killing, yeah, I love those books. Dude, he was life-changing for me early in my career to read those. Yeah. On combat, what we know what happens in a combat scenario, right, is the blood drains from your appendages to your core to preserve your vital organs. And so everything slows down, dexterity slows down, hand-eye coordination slows down, processing slows down. It's why people panic when they're put in a terrifying situation that they're not equipped to deal with yet. They panic, freeze, they can't make decisions. It's just because that hasn't been trained out of them. They're not stress inoculated yet. Well, if you go back to the origins of Hell Week, Ben Milligan in his book, By Water Beneath the Walls, one of the best history books I've ever read on the SEAL teams, talks about Draper Kaufman's intent in developing Hell Week. He had already been to World War II a couple times, so he wanted to inoculate these candidates for the stressors of war, for the chaos of war. So he designed Hell Week for that, to get you ready for the chaos of war. What's crazy, what's kind of cool about the history too, by the way, Ben talks about it, is he goes through it himself. He puts a couple iterations through as he's like developing it in the beta model. Then he's like, hey, if I'm going to lead these dudes, I need to go through it too. I need to understand what it is this is, which is an anomaly. And he did it. So he goes through it. But the Navy, even back then, didn't like all the attrition they were seeing because of it. So the senior officer calls him in the office. He's like, Kaufman, I don't think you know what the hell you're doing to these guys right now. And he had just finished himself. And he said, actually, I do, sir. It's hell. So that's how Hell Week became born. So the stressors of war, the chaos of war. So we stress these guys out and girls. Hell Week starts, we're shooting guns over their heads, we're throwing smoke grenades, flash bombs, we have a cold pool, hoses in the face, nighttime strobe, lots of stress, chaos. And you see their eyes just terrified. But we give them very simple tasks because we know what Grossman talked about is happening. We know their blood's draining, we know they're in a state of panic, and we know they're not thinking clearly. They're gonna make stupid mistakes on very simple things. Get a head count, you messed it up, shocking. Go hit the surf and back. Do push-ups. Do a bear crawl. You messed it up. Shocking. So we just train out that stress. And you see over time them start to process this stress better. You see them through the Hell Week and the tour make less mistakes. And you see the glazed look come off their eyes. And you see them start to, okay, they're actually cognitively processing now. And they're actually responding. And they're actually knocking out the tasks. And by like Tuesday, Wednesday of Hell Week, they're like, whatever, dude. I got it. Throw it whatever you want at me. I got it. No big deal. They're no longer scared. And now you see a sense of confidence come into them. Like, I got this. And there's no way you're going to make me quit either, by the way. So it's stress inoculation. Then we do it again. You go into dive phase. Now we start introducing other stressors, right? I'm going to tie your air hoses in knots. I'm going to spin you around, rip off your mask.
Pool comp.
Pool comp. Sounds terrifying. Terrifying. And it is. And these candidates freak out. And we tell them, hey, man, it's okay. You have the rest of your life to solve this problem. So how long can you hold your breath? Here's the big secret, and it's not a secret. We give them the answers to the test. So we teach them procedures. Here are all the procedures you go through. I can't remember now, maybe 10 or 12 steps, whatever it is. If you follow these steps in this order every single time, you will solve every problem we give you. So what's that doing? It's forcing them underwater in the midst of panic to focus, calm their heart, get the blood back to their head and think through, what are my processes? What are the steps? Step 1, step 2, step 3. Oh, I solved my problem. I have air. I'm good. They do it again. Oh, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 7. I got air. I'm good. Do it again. I start with step 5 because I got a little scared. Guess what? You screwed it up. You didn't solve your problem. They're designed to be solved if you do them in sequence. It's brilliant because there's no magic to it. There's no mystery to it. We tell them right off the bat. So it's really another exercise in stress management. Are you inoculated to stress? Can you force yourself to calm down? Then they do that. Okay, now what we're going to do? We're going to go to third phase. We're going to introduce weapons and demo. We're going to shoot, move, communicate. Super stressful. Shooting right past the dude's barrel of the other guy in the room in the room with you. Same thing, right? Stress. Can you calm your heart rate? Can you go into the room cool, calm, and collective and make better decisions? And at some point when you graduate BUDS or the first part of the SWIC school and you go into now the advanced portions, well, now we know that the tasks get more and more complex, more and more stress, so we can actually throttle back the instructor-induced stress. I don't need to yell at you as much anymore because this task is so hard. Jumping out of a plane is so scary. I probably shouldn't add more stress to that one, right? So it's a sliding scale of intensity and stress that we are absolutely manipulating, but deliberately and methodically to watch you grow in how much stress you can manage and perform under. And I think that all starts back at how, and by the way, it doesn't stop when you graduate. And that's our message to them too.
The job's stressful.
Welcome to the teams, dudes. This gets harder. Like we said, colder, wetter, harder. And by the time you figure it out and you've inoculated yourself to that stress, guess what? We got a new job for you. We're going to put you in another leadership position somewhere else. So it never stops. This is a lifestyle choice. Those that make that choice through Hell Week and Tour to endure are the ones that make it because they've made that choice. They're all in on the lifestyle. They're all in on doing hard things. They're all in on whatever the cost is. And they know that suffering is doing something for them and it's going to be worth it in the end. Back to our whole discussion here. Suffering produces something. It produces endurance. Endurance produces character. Character produces hope. Those are the ones.
That's biblical, by the way.
It's almost like the playbook is written for us and all you have to do is read it, right? It's almost like all the secrets of the universe are in there. They buy into that. They agree. Yeah, I agree. Suffering is producing something. It sucks. It's miserable. I want this to be over right now, but it's not. So I'm going to endure because I know it's going to do something for me. Those are the dudes that I would say make it. The ones that made that choice. Back to starting small and building resilience. You don't start with Hell Week. So the candidates who are getting ready, the young dudes that are thinking about this, okay, start doing hard things today, things you don't want to do. And that may not be physical. Everyone wants to know, how do I work out? How do I get ready? Okay, got it. I already told you, we're going to physically make sure you're ready. As long as you're in shape enough to get in the front door and get a billet with us, we're going to make you physically ready. The thing that'll cripple dudes faster than that is the cognitive piece. So how do you get cognitively ready? Start doing hard things you don't want to do. Huberman talks about this a lot. The idea of like ice bath, right? You don't want to do it. It has great physiological benefits, but even more than that, the act of forcing yourself to get in the cold tub when you didn't want to do it, of like doing something you don't want to do, does something in your brain. He's way better at explaining this than me, but it's incredible growth and resiliency that happens in your brain every time you choose to do something you don't want to do. One of my old mentors, Jay Hennessy, used to love this. He'd come in the office and he'd be like, "Hey, you want to work out?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to work out, sir. Sounds good. What do you want to do?" He's like, "Well, the way I see it is we can do two things. We can do a really crappy, hard, long run on the beach. Or we can go to the gym, listen to some nice music, and just have a nice, easy lift." I was like, "Yeah, that lift sounds pretty nice." He's like, "I know. So let's do the crappy run." And he would always pick the crappier of the two things to do and force himself into the uncomfortable. And that's what I tell young dudes today is, hey man, start doing hard things. Start forcing yourself into the uncomfortable, the things you don't want to do. Force yourself to do them, because in the middle of Hell Week, when you have that crisis of conscience, that moment, am I willing to pay this cost for another minute for what I can get to if I stick with this? If you're not used to making those hard decisions to stick with something you don't want to do, you won't do it. You'll crumble. You'll fail. Your resolve will disintegrate very, very quickly. And the cold Pacific Ocean has a very good way of dissolving resolve.
Yes.
Very, very quickly. So start now. And it doesn't mean go get hypothermic all the time, No. But force yourself into the uncomfortable. Get out of your comfort zone now, and have people help you do that. And I know for a fact that swimming did that for me, and sports can do that for you going into BUDS. Swimming in particular for me, like those were known for doing morning practices, just brutal, 5:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, cold, and you're just staring at this black line in cold water, just swimming mile after mile. I know for a fact I just built this resiliency and this resolve to like gut it out when it sucks the most. So sports are good. They're very helpful. Funny enough, geographically, dudes from New England, statistically do better at buds than everyone else, I think it's because they're used to cold water and angry people.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, this is easy. Like, this is Southern California. You guys aren't that angry.
Order a cup of coffee. Like, get yelled at.
Yeah. Try coming to Newport, dude. Like, these people are nice here.
I think it's something about like making a decision too. Like, people oftentimes make a decision and circumstances change, so they change their decision.
Yeah.
Making a pre-decision that, and being a realist, like, this is not going to be as sexy as that recruiting poster anymore. This is not going to be fun. I'm going to get cellulitis between my legs.
Yep.
My IT bands are going to hurt. That's going to be a moment that I want to quit and have a legitimate reason to quit.
That's right.
And but when those moments come, I'm still going to stay because I made a decision.
That's right.
To complete it.
That's right.
Like, make a pre-decision in advance is like one of the most powerful things that I think people could do.
It is.
The circumstances will change.
100% agree with you. And we used to tell them also, not just make a decision, but have an anchor. Because you will have a weak moment. No one's good at everything. And that's part of the program too, is we'll expose your weakness, and your weakness will force you to look in the mirror, and that'll create a crisis of conscience. So what's your anchor in that moment? What's your why? Why are you here? It can't just be, well, that looks like fun. And I want the cool glasses, and I want the fun stuff that comes with being a SEAL or a SWIC. No, man, you have to have a stronger why than that. And it could be as simple as, I really want to work with incredible human beings.
Yeah.
And if that's your why and that's strong enough, that'll get you through. Right. But each one has to have their own. And you're lying to yourself if you think that everyone's got the same one, or everyone. I used to laugh when instructors would come to me. Not all of them. Every once in a while, you'd get one. Hey, sir, I cracked the code. I know what it takes to make a Navy SEAL. Like, I can handpick which ones are going to make it and which ones aren't. I'm like, okay, sure, show me. Every time they were wrong. Yeah. Statistically, they'd have a couple wins, but there's no code, man. There's no code. What's your decision?
Inside, you can't see it.
That's right.
On the surface of that.
That's right.
That 130-pound kid from Oklahoma who's never been in a pool before.
Heck, dude, that's absolutely 100% true. Like, dudes, they tell you that at the beginning. Like, look around. Half these guys, more than half, will be gone. And inevitably, it's funny. We look to what we think success looks like. You look to these dudes who look like Arnold Schwarzenegger sometimes. You're like, that guy's going to make it. I just know it. He might be the first to quit. And then, like you said, this 130-pound soaking wet dude who's never even been in a pool somehow got to buds, and he crushes it. And you're like, what the heck, dude? Like, how'd you do that?
Just too hard to quit.
Too hard to quit, man.
Yeah. You said something that took me back to walking into the kind of doorway in buds. There's kind of initial doorway, and then you go through this check-in area, and then there's the area where all I think PT happens, and there's the helmets gets staged.
Yeah, the grinder.
The grinder right there. Okay,
yes.
Through there, and I don't know if it's still there, there's a saying over the top, and it's not indicated as scripture, but it's actually scripture. Proverbs 24:10. It talks about what you said. I don't know the verse there's right, but it's the true measure of man is not there in times of comfort and convenience, but trials and controversy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this worded in that version.
Yeah.
But it's up there, and it's not noted as Proverbs 24.
Yeah, I think it's still there. We shifted compounds. They built a new one, and a lot of our banners and sayings and stuff got shifted and reshifted. I think it's still there, but I couldn't tell you where exactly. But lots of things like that are little seeds planted throughout for sure.
Yeah, it's that's such. I mean, Proverbs 24:10 is just such a powerful verse. And I mean, that's where we truly know what we're made of, and comfort and convenience, easy. Trials and controversy, that's where we really know who we are. And I think you guys' program exposes that for.
It sure does. We will give you trials and adversity. We will give you suffering. What you do with it's up to you.
Another thing is two more, like you said, some great things, and two more things I want to pull from this is one is all that hardship of Hell Week and stuff like that. I think people look at it as a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Keepers of the Trident. I know back when, back came a Recon Marine, there was a lot of gatekeeper stuff, but I think, I don't think this is all gatekeeper stuff. I think it's that these are small communities.
Yeah.
I'm either going to serve with you, or if you become a SEAL, I'm going to serve with you, or one of my friends are going to serve with you.
Yes.
I'll probably go down range with you.
Yes.
And I don't want to have to walk through a door and have to look over my shoulder and wonder if you're going to be there.
Yeah.
I know you're going to be there because of what you went through here.
Absolutely.
And so it's not just gatekeeper.
No, it's not. And gatekeeper is the wrong word too. People have used that over the years. What we told our instructors is, hey, you professionally execute curriculum. That's your job. You're not a gatekeeper. You execute curriculum. The curriculum does the gatekeeping. Most of these candidates will drop on request instead of get dropped for other reasons. They make their own decisions. Most of them look in the mirror and realize, like, yeah, this isn't for me, and so they walk away. So mission complete. You're not the guy that we want downrange with us. If that's all it took, and again, there's no shame here, but if that's all it took you to quit, you're certainly not going to survive in the chaos of war without quitting. And so it's a requirement there, and that's why, again, Draper Kaufman did it. Beyond the curriculum and it creating quitters, I used to say the only other gatekeepers are me and the Command Master Chief, because we're the ones that make a decision ultimately to drop or retain a candidate who's now aired, whether it's performance or character or something else. So those are the gatekeepers. However, what I want to hit on, which is I think what you were getting to, which is important, is instructors' mindsets at BUD/S. There's this misnomer out there that they are just ruthless savages who just froth at the mouth to get helmets lined up, to get as many quitters as possible. It's just not the case. Most of those guys are coming off operational tours and they're going right back to operational tours. This is a shore duty rotation. Some of them are going to get out of the Navy after BUD/S, sure, but most of them are going right back to the platoons. Every single time that happens, they end up serving with dudes they just put through the pipeline.
They're building their teammates.
They're building their teammates. And golly, dude, when I talk to these instructors and they just have passion for these young dudes and girls, and they're like, I need them to be the best that they can possibly be, because I know we're going downrange together. I know we're rolling together, and I want that for them. I want them to succeed. I want them to thrive. I want them to grow, and I want to give them what they deserve. They came to this program to meet a standard, to test themselves. We have to give them the standard. We owe it to them because they came here for that. If we lower the standard for whatever reason, politics, DEI, fill in the blank, then we're selling them short. We're cheapening their experience. They're not able to even accomplish what they set out to accomplish. And by the way, we're cheapening the Trident and the warboat in the same way through that process. So they care about the program because they care about the person, and they want to see him succeed. And it's lost on so many people. And you don't see that unless you sit and talk with them. You don't see that unless you go out and watch evolutions. And what's funny too is what I've also noticed, from the outside looking in, everyone's very critical of Hell Week and critical of BUD/S because like, oh, it's just too hard. It's funny that like I just got back to saying we are who we are because of the Hell Week and the tour. 100%.
The Hell Week in the what?
Hell Week in the tour, the SWIC version of the tour.
Okay.
Those are what make our community, Naval Special Warfare, SEAL, and SWIC. And yet those are the things the most criticized by people. And everyone knows it. Like, this is who you are. It's what made you culturally. It's what makes you guys great more than anything else. But does it really have to be so hard? Couldn't we shorten it by a day? Couldn't we sequence it differently? Everyone's always looking for a way to massage how hard it is because they're uncomfortable with the attrition.
The biggest part of attrition throughout all the BUD/S
happens
SQT
right around there.
Is that week?
It's all around that week. Yeah. That week and prior, but mainly that week.
What's percentage?
Oh gosh.
I guess up to that point.
Yeah. I mean, typically through the end of Hell Week, you will see anywhere from 18 to 24% succeed. Ebb and flowing, depending on seasons, depending on everything. I've gone into depth about why our season was particularly lower. I think there was a lot of COVID-related policies and vaccines that were affecting our numbers.
So you're saying 80% of the drops are Hell Week and before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. And the same thing on the SWIC side. You can almost overlay their data. It's almost the same. It's almost the exact same. Some slight variations, but it's a pretty consistent model. But yeah, people are critical of that, and they're critical of our instructors, and they're very quick to say, "Oh, you guys are being too hard." But back to your question, I saw the care in these dudes in wanting to deliver the best product possible for the individual and for the community and for the nation. And it was really, really fun to see them do that, to put that much time and energy into it, and to hold the line, to hold the standard, not just as a gatekeeper, but for the sake of that person too. Yeah. And ironically, those candidates ended up loving those instructors the most anyway.
Yeah.
That blows my mind, but it makes sense too. Like my hard as nails instructor that's like never gives a nod of approval, like, or very rarely, just the most stern dude ever. Time after time after time, at the end of the pipeline, we'd ask candidates, who was your favorite instructor and why? They'd always reference the same dude. This guy, instructor so-and-so. I can't say his name because he's still active duty. And it was the same couple dudes like that. Like this guy, because he was hard but fair. He made sure I earned it. But when I did, I got the nod of approval, and I knew that's everything I wanted in this world.
Yeah.
So
it really made it mean something.
It means something coming from that guy. And so yeah, we have to hold that standard. Have to.
Do a lot of the guys that don't make it have the opportunity to go over to SWIC?
So no, we used to do that, and it created a cultural problem in the SWIC side where it was just looked at as like, oh, you're just buds duds. That was a big problem 15, 20 years ago, 10 to 20 years ago, maybe. Because it wasn't necessarily true. Like we said, there's no dishonor in not choosing.
Trying to do one of the hardest jobs in the world.
Right. But letting them sequence like that created an unhealthy culture. So we stopped doing that. And now what we do is we're very careful to say, hey, listen, here's our two options. These are two pipelines. They're very different. There's some overlapping similarities. They're very focused on what's the mission requirements for these types of operators. We recruit specifically for those. So we'll send our recruiting element, or not recruiting, but our assessment command out with the recruiters, the Navy recruiters, to go to these like boat shows and like, cigarette boat races, and look for people like that and bring our big boats in and be like, hey, this is probably the target audience. If you like to drive fast boats and shoot guns from them, maybe SWIC's for you. So we just make sure we're very clear with everyone on which program you're in and why. Are we appealing to your desires and hopes for the future? And before training begins, we actually give them an opportunity to switch sometimes if they want to. We've had guys show up who are like, all I knew about was SEALs. All of a sudden they learn about SWIC. They're like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting. Can I cross over to that before we start? Yes, you may. We look at each case individually, but we let them shift over. But once you start day one of training of either, you're locked in that program. If you fail or you quit, you usually have to go to the fleet and then reapply for one or the other and come back and try again. And you can try either one at that point, but you need time in the fleet to kind of cool off before you
Because
come
they're
back.
signing up at the recruiter as it needs of the Navy.
Yeah.
For their job.
Yeah.
That's a dice roll, right?
It's always a dice roll. Needs of the Navy. That could be anything.
Chipping paint on a ship somewhere.
It happens.
Yeah, that's a good incentive not to. Why do you want to finish this program?
It is.
I want to be stuck in the bottom of a ship somewhere.
It is. But I just spoke at a retirement of a teammate who said he got stuck on a ship, and he said it was the worst 2 years of his life.
Yeah.
And he said, I met the two best friends of my life while there. And they were at his retirement, not SEALs, but they were at his retirement there. Yeah. And he said, it was a formative time for me that produced such growth, back to suffering, right? Suffering doesn't have to be physical. Produced growth in him and resilience in him. And then when he did get to Buds down the road, he said, man, the context I had, the perspective I had, where we're getting, surf acclimation down on the bay in San Diego, freezing cold, miserable.
Yeah.
But I'd look across the bay and I could see the ship that I had been on. And he's like, dude, there was no way in hell I was ever going to quit.
I don't know if you know Ben Ives.
Yeah, I know Ben really well. Good friend of mine.
Yeah, Ben's a friend of mine.
Great
too.
dude. Him and
That
Tiggs,
was his story. He was like, he was on a ship and he's like, I just like the Navy is just terrible. And he said, I've seen these guys come on and they were so cool. And I'm like, he said he didn't know nothing about SEALs, but he was like, whoever those guys are, I want to do that. And
yeah.
When he was going through Buds, he was like, man, I do not want to go back and be chipping paint on a ship.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great. So many people, they write these puff stories or criticizing stories about the community. And it's like, oh, these poor people that don't make it and go to the fleet and have to chip paint. It's like, hey, dude, it's honorable, noble work.
Yep.
He's still serving our nation. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. And like we continue to see, while it can be miserable, depending where you end up, what ship you're on for sure, it's going to produce something good. So like, stop the pity party. Stop this spiral of defeat. Like, this is all goodness here.
It's necessary.
It's necessary. It's necessary.
Because we went such a deep dive in Buds, I want to address this topic is PEDS. I mean, that was a big issue because of the situation at Buds with you and the death there. But I think a lot of people, a lot of young men feel like they have to cut a corner.
Sure.
They have to have an advantage, and PEDS is something that's very tempted. Performance enhancing drugs, aka steroids.
Yeah.
Right. And so, what would you say to somebody like preparing for Buds or even going through Buds that is just absolutely not necessary? You don't need PEDS to, and in fact, it could be worse, right?
Well, 100%. And it's what we've said for generations. Like, you don't need it. And not only do you not need it, it's probably going to hurt you. You don't want muscle mass at Buds. The miles you will put on your legs at Buds, it's the hardest thing I think there. Like swimming, whatever. PT, whatever. Push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, whatever. But the miles on your feet, just mile after mile after mile, that is weight on the knees. It's weight on the hips, shins. One of the biggest injuries over the years that has kept guys out of Buds is the IT band inflammation.
Yeah.
We called it I tried Buds, ITB. Because once that thing gets inflamed, as you know, it's very hard to reduce the inflammation and the swelling and actually get back into it where you can actually continue running.
The sand makes it
worse. Yeah. 100%. So the more weight you have on you, that's the more poundage on your joints. And so you don't want muscle mass going in there. I mean, you need to be in shape. You got to be.
But a lot of the peds, they'll grow muscle mass, but the tendons and ligaments don't grow as fast, and now you have tendon ligament damage, which that's gonna you're producing more problems, right? Yeah. And beyond all that, the most important thing that we tell these candidates, and this is like everything, is, hey man, we have world-class medical professionals that respond to emergencies very, very quickly and make snap decisions based upon the variables. If you are inserting unknown variables into that equation that they are not aware of, what if they give you something that contraindicates with something else that you've already put in your system that you're not disclosing? That is life-threatening. That is absolutely life-threatening. Don't do that. This program is not worth that. Back to, it's not what you wear on your chest that makes the man or the woman. Don't cut these corners. Part of the program is designed in the sense that, war is not black and white. It's gray. We've talked about that in various forms. Lots of warfighters have. It's morally ambiguous. There's gray space of war to navigate. And so some of Buds is teaching them how to navigate that, right? Like candidates will do funny stuff to like cut a corner. Like they'll take an MRE heater and sneak it in their camis so when it gets wet, they're getting a little warm instead of like just being cold, things like that where we nod and wink, like, okay, yeah, it's cute. It's good. It's good. That's, healthy level of bending rules to try to get away with it. If you get caught, we're going to hammer you. You're going to pay the man. But like secretly we're kind of like giggling like that was a good one. Yeah. These are the lines you don't cross. These are the ROEs. These are the hard black and white. We don't murder downrange. That'd be a hard ROE downrange, right? This is a hard ROE here. Don't do PEDs. You're accepting insane, unquantifiable, unmitigable levels of risk for something that is not worth it. And you don't need it. That's what I was going to say. That's where I wanted to drive home. Not only is it not worth it, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
I think every young person thinking of doing one of these programs, they're only thinking of physical, and that's just a part of it. And, I agree with you. I think it would make it worse. It
makes it worse. Yeah. And we get you physically ready. You're physically ready. Mm-hmm. We take the mystery out of it. Yeah. The only question is, are you cognitively ready? And if you're so cognitively bent on taking a shortcut like that, you're probably not the person we want. Mm-hmm. It means you're not cognitively ready. You're looking for something to give you that edge, that shortcut, that false sense of security, which is, like you said, probably hurting you more. And by the way, as I've talked about risk for so often, when you start creating blind risk and unintended consequences to a decision, now I took something and now I need to go extra far to hide it from people who might discover it because A, I don't want to get in trouble. B, I don't want to get kicked out of the program. And so now what if you're having other symptoms, but you're going to hide those symptoms from us for fear of being discovered for what you're actually doing on the side?
Yeah.
And I think that's what was going on with Kyle Mullen a little bit too, and why he denied medical care when he knew his body was tanking was he knew what he had just done. He was afraid of getting caught. He was afraid of getting kicked out of the program. It wasn't because we had created a fear of going to medical. Absolutely not. The data actually refutes that conclusively.
Sure.
He was afraid of getting caught. And so I can do this. I don't want to turn myself in. I don't want to turn myself in. And it cost him everything.
So for those listening, we brought this up for an important reason. If you're young and want to go on one of these programs, you do not need to do it at all.
No.
There's so many great curriculums out there, training programs. There's so much information.
Yeah.
Abundance of information to prepare. And then once you get there, they're going to prepare you.
Yes.
In all the programs now, not just for Buds, all the programs.
Yep.
The Army, the Marine Corps, they just have tons of amazing prep programs.
It's incredible. It's so much better than it ever used to be. There's no mystery anymore. You eat right, train well, train smart, show up.
Don't quit.
And we'll take care of the rest. Don't quit. Yeah.
Yep. Well, good. I'm glad we covered that. Well, another thing I want to cover it that I didn't plan on covering, but it's so important is you mentioned a couple of times is identity.
Yeah.
So many guys, you're transitioning now, like currently transitioning.
Yeah, 1 month and a week and a half into it, I think.
Yeah. So 24 years of being a Navy SEAL, like is if you try to or not, even who you are,
yes,
your identity is very much being a Navy SEAL.
It's inevitable.
Being a commander, a naval officer. And it's something to be proud of, very proud of, and there's nothing wrong with being proud of it. The problem comes when people like us tie our identity to it, and then that changes, and it could change for a million reasons, right? You could get hurt, you could get kicked out of the military, you could retire, and now you're not going to wake up every day and put that Trident on. So, talk a little bit about identity and the dangers of having an identity in these jobs.
Yeah, it's such an important thing to discuss. It's difficult. I used to say, in my early career, I would say, I don't want to be known as a SEAL. Like, I don't want that to be my identity. I want to be Brad. I want to be, God-fearing. I want to be a husband and a father, and I happen to be a SEAL. I said that, and I thought that might be enough to kind of prevent that risk from manifesting. I was foolish, naive. It becomes who you are. It becomes your identity. And this is one of the double-edged swords of the SEAL teams in particular. And I know it's probably true for most soft components in really military branches in general, but specifically with the SEAL teams, we immerse ourselves in our culture more so than most that I've ever seen. We really just dive in. And like I said, dudes get the tats. And this isn't unique, but I think that we are unique in that we go a little bit deeper into culture than most people. And it's all about the team. And this is the other problem with the SEAL teams. It's one of our greatest strengths, and it's one of our Achilles heels. From day one, I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how good you are. All I care about is your head under that boat. Are you a team player? People come to BUD/S thinking we look for the run, swims, and no courses. Okay, mildly interesting. What we're really looking at is your shoulder under that log? Is your head under that boat? Are you carrying your weight? Are you constantly trying to sacrifice more of yourself for your teammates and to spare them? Are you competing to get to the number 2 spot in the boat, which is the harder one? Is your head under the boat? Or are you a boat ducker? Are you selfless or are you selfish? So your value, your worth as a human being, your worth as a teammate is very much defined and determined by, does the team value you? Mm-hmm. That's great, because that produces a team that is so reliant on each other and mutually supportive of each other, because everyone has a weak moment. It's not about being strong forever. Everyone has a weak moment. But when you've shown your boat crew that you're going to keep your head under the boat no matter what, then when you have your weak moment, that boat crew will rally for you. And you've seen this in teams. Like, that's the beautiful thing about being in a team, is all of a sudden you're only as fast as your slowest man. When one man stumbles, the team helps along. When one man trips, the team lifts up. That's the beautiful part about a team. And that's what makes the SEAL teams great, is I think we culturalize the concept of a team more than most people, because it is everything and everything and everything from day one, and then for the rest of your career. But when the team stops valuing you for whatever reason, all of a sudden your identity is in a crisis. And that can happen just from a retirement. Like I've heard guys on your show talk about, like they leave the teams and all of a sudden I'm off the text threads. Mm-hmm. No one's keeping up with me on what's going on out there. I'm not in on the know. No one's reaching out. You feel like you're off the threads because you're no longer valued, right? The machine moved on, as it should and it needs to, and this is a good thing. You can't expect to be a part of it forever. It's a season of life, but that creates an identity crisis when these guys look around like, well, all my self-worth was based upon the team and what they thought of me, and now it's pretty clear they're neutral. Even if they're neutral on me, they've just moved on without me. That's hard for dudes to cope with. For us, it was particularly difficult. Not in this retirement. The retirement's actually pretty incredible, but I think I preloaded that identity crisis through my 3-year struggle, because not only did I feel the crisis of being ostracized by the community, being told by the person that represents the community that I'm a negligent and derelict leader, I'm going to charge you with these things, absolutely catalyzed an awareness for me that I had turned my Trident into an idol. And I talked about that before. it had become my identity, become everything I was and I loved. And so part of this process for us spiritually, and the spiritual warfare part, was breaking those chains of idolization of to the bird and to what man thought of me, to what my teammates thought of me. And I had to learn to give that all back to God and find my self-worth in his eyes, not theirs. And that's a way better place to be, by the way, because man is very fickle, no matter how good they are. And one of my friends told me that early on. He'd been through something similar. He's a Marine, my old roommate from college, Jason Bresler, phenomenal dude. So he was a beacon of like sanity for me through this too, because he had gone through something similar. And he said, hey, one of the most painful but best gifts you'll get from this are that you will find out very quickly who your true friends are and who are not. Dudes that you thought were on Team Gary, very quickly will start not only distancing themselves from you, but bad-mouthing you behind closed doors. Oh, I knew that guy was a turd the whole time. What? Like, dude, we were like best friends, I thought, maybe not besties, but tight. Yeah. So that's a thing I think every veteran's going to have to grapple with, is that sense of loss of identity. I started seeing that even before our struggle, like, oh, we're coming to the end of our career one way or another. And I started coaching the new candidates coming into the pipeline. When they graduate, grad week, I'd tell them all, hey, listen, this is great. You're going to have the time of your life. Drive it like you stole it. Really embrace the culture. Have fun. To your point, acknowledge that it's going to become part of your identity, but always remember to keep it in context that this is a season of life and nothing more.
Yep.
Now, it's a formative season of life.
Yeah.
It's an important season of life. It may last you 5 years. It may last you 25 years, but it's a season.
And that doesn't make you not like less effective.
No, absolutely not.
You can still dig in.
100%. Yeah. You can go all in, but play the long game. Play the long game, because like it or not, no matter what, this season will end. Very few people are James Mattis, do an entire adult life somehow in the Department of Defense, one way or another, right? Very, 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 very few people. Astronomically small. Most of us, you will either peak, your family will tell you it's time to get out, you'll break, you'll have to get out medically retired, or for all the attributes you bring to the table, the Navy one day will say, thank you very much, it's time for you to go. That will happen somewhere between your mid-20s to your mid-40s most likely, and you have a lot of life to live after that. So keep it in perspective. This is a season of life. I would tell the married guys too, hey man, you made an oath to your wife for the rest of your life. Your oath to the Constitution lasts until your next reenlistment.
I say 4 years at a time.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of a joke, because like most of us are like, no, my oath to the nation's forever. Of course it is. But remember that, because when you have a choice to take a shore duty, when you have a choice to pour into your family, when you have a choice to choose them first. And my wife said recently, like, I just wanted you to choose us. And I wasn't doing that again. Again, I was falling into my habit of choosing work. Like, I gotta get to DC, baby. We gotta do this job. I just wanted you to choose us. And I failed once again. I'm like preaching this to the young dudes, and I'm failing at the same time. Like, this just shows how stubborn-minded we are and thick-headed.
We all are.
Oh, dude, it's just you have to maintain a constant sense of I have a learning mindset, right? I've got to be humble enough to recognize that I still mess this junk up. So she said, I just wanted you to choose us, and I had to tell her, I was like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I failed once again, and thankfully God intervened and protected us from me. But that's what I tell these guys is play the long game, man. Play the long game. This is a season of life. It's okay and it's good. Embrace it. But then be ready for the break and be ready for the identity crisis that'll come. There's things you can do to prepare for that. If you are a believer, which I tell dudes, find your faith, find your identity in God. And then, and now we have all these programs that'll help you transition out, that help you grapple with this. Mighty Oaks, like there's so many great programs and foundations that help dudes deal with this identity crisis. So I tell them all, capitalize on that. So many of them are totally funded. Do it.
Take advantage
of them.
Amazing things.
People want to help. Say yes, I accept your help. I'm telling you, you need it. You will need it. Yeah.
We all do. I'm going to wear a mask or some kind of undercover boss thing and go to Mighty Oaks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I need to go. I don't know what I can do. Wear some stilts. Like
I mean, we're all human, man.
Yeah.
You know, and we have this pattern of making the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, with less severity each time. But yeah.
Last question.
Yeah.
The Resilience Show, topic of resilience.
Yeah.
Any departing words on to the audience on on being resilient.
Man.
I guess what's resiliency mean to you? You talked about it a lot already, but
yeah, we've covered it in so many ways through this talk. This has been really, really fun. I appreciate it. I love talking about this stuff. It's stay the course, remain steadfast. You're going to have your mountaintop moments. You're going to have your valleys. Remain steadfast through them all. You're going to make mistakes. That's fine. Nobody's perfect. Pick yourself up when you fall. Stay the course. Remain steadfast. That's what resilient is. It's trusting in the long game, and hopefully, I find that I've only been able to be resilient through my faith as a foundation for me. You know, I've talked about this. It's this theme of submitting to God's sovereignty. I think that's what Paul talks about when he says, I've learned to be content in all things. You can learn to find contentment in the valleys, in the darkness, in the valley of the shadow of death. Doesn't mean contentment is like, well, I guess I'm just going to give up. Yeah. No, it means, okay, I can be content that I'm here right now, and I know that this too shall pass, and I know that it's doing something for me, and I know it's going to take me somewhere, and I will climb the other side of this, and we will get to another mountaintop moment. So having that faith, that resolve, that steadfastness to say, it's doing something for me. I'm not going to let this defeat me. Nothing will defeat me. Get back up, take one more step. You may not think you can take 100 more steps, but you can take one more step, and you can take one more step. And then pretty soon you realize I took 100 steps. And then at some point you'll realize maybe I should stop placing limits on myself and just stay steadfast, align myself to my principles, and keep going. That's a long answer to a short question. I wish I could have it more concise, but
that's some wise words.
That's probably my last thoughts there. Yeah.
Nope. It's been a long one. We did, and I don't know if we'll do it in one segment or two, but
whatever you want to do.
But well, we have some amazing sponsors.
Awesome.
And I think we have the best gifts in podcasting. So I
think so. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, Sean gave you the gummies, and the gummies are good. But
the gummies are great. But like, I'm liking what I see on this table over here.
We have BioPro. I don't know if you're into supplements, but BioPro is like an all natural human growth hormone supplement.
Nice.
It's USADA, like UFC fighters use it. It's amazing, man.
That's awesome.
We've had a couple of guys on here that come on and like having sleep problems. Mark Green was one of them.
Yeah.
Eddie was another. Both having sleep problems, and both of them this like cured their sleep. So it took me from like 4 or 5 hours to like 8-9 hours of sleep a night.
That's awesome.
So we'll hook you up with that.
That's awesome.
We have Ally Wealth Management and Gators. I seen you rolled in, wear some Gators.
Yeah.
So we'll let you pick a new pair of Gators and have another pair.
Love those. Thank you.
I know you said you wanted a lever action. So this is the 1854 Stealth Hunter. This one's in 357. You can grab it if you want. It's it's clear, but you can clear it. It's a 1854 Stealth Hunter in 357, and we have a Vortex Strike Eagle 1x8 on it. And this is actually mine, and I love this thing.
Dude, it's beautiful. I appreciate this so much. Thank you to all the sponsors, to you. I've been wanting a lever action for a while. It's something iconic about it, like American, just classic rifle. And this is awesome. I really appreciate it.
Old, like, in Smith & Wesson, been around 170 years.
Yeah.
And, to put out like you can have it in walnut and they're different, but that's like modern day, technology into just the old style of.
I love it.
Nice and compact. Yeah,
it's a blending of the old and new, and it's an iconic style of rifle. So I really appreciate this.
So we just filmed the episode of Shadow Figures, which we're just starting to kind of sneak out the information on, and we were doing an episode with one of the Bigfoot episodes, and we're in the Sierra Mountains, and so we're going to go there and bring Smith & Wesson. Like, hey, if somebody has to kill Bigfoot, it's going to be done with a Smith & Wesson.
100%.
So we went hunting him, but we were in self-defense mode.
Yeah.
And so we started putting the guns together, and ARs in California.
Yeah.
They had all kind of restrictions on it. I'm like, I'm not going to be caught dead on camera holding this thing.
Yeah.
And so let's do something different. And so we use this rifle for the show.
Nice.
And so everybody on that episode got one of these setups.
It's fantastic.
And we got let's see what else we have.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
I just got to show you this. On that episode, we all did this as well. Because the Smith & Wesson 8-round 357. So we had so everybody had the revolver as well. It's pretty cool.
That's great.
Yeah. We actually got one. Terry Crews was on a show, and we got one from Terry Crews. And
I need to watch. I didn't know I need to watch that episode.
Oh yeah, he's episode 1.
Oh, he's one.
Yeah, he's episode 1. So we Smith Wesson put in the barrel President Camacho. If you remember the movie Idiocracy, have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we put President Camacho in the barrel.
That's awesome. So. That guy has a great story. He's a phenomenal, inspirational human being.
Yeah, he's great dude. He spoke at Gala last year, and we have Mighty Oaks Gala coming up in October.
Nice.
And Kaylee McEnany speaking this year, but yeah, she's got some big shoes to fill with Terry Crews last year.
Yeah,
but Kaylee's gonna do great.
That's awesome. That'll be really good.
She did my book release for me. She's pretty awesome.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, man, great having you on.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
We'll stay in touch, of course, as friends. But anything in your transition,
thanks,
we're
man.
here for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
means a lot to me.
Thank you, Amy.
We'll be in touch.
Yep. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have not done so yet, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Also, if you're not part of the Patreon family, please join. It's one of the best ways you can support the show. We got some amazing behind-the-scene content. And in fact, we're going to jump right now, and I got some Patreon member viewer questions that we're going to ask Brad. And you can go there, tune in to catch them. So see you soon, and stay resilient. Hey, what's up, Resilient family? I am so grateful for each of you who tune in every week to hear our episodes. We have such incredible guests and topics that I am passionate about, our team's passionate about, and we could not do it without you. So we're thankful for you. We love you. We appreciate you locking arms with us to be more informed, to become a more resilient community. And I want to invite you to become a tighter part of that community by joining us on Patreon. If you go to our show notes below, you can click the link and get dialed into our Patreon and get extra content weekly. You can join for $15 a month and get behind-the-scenes footage, get closer access to me. I have monthly Zooms that I'll be doing with some members of the community. And so we'd love to get more involved. Again, go below in the show notes and click the link and join today.